Hey guys, what's going on? Thanks for checking out this video. Today we are reviewing, as you saw in the title of this video, we are reviewing the actual HeatPressNation HPN Signature Series mug press. So if this is something that you're thinking about getting, maybe you're just thinking about starting an online mug business and you're scoping out the different machines, we're going to be going into a lot of detail. I personally have used this particular machine for about 5 or 6 years now, and I've been doing mugs for about 8 years total, so just shy of a decade. But also today we have Lala here on the stream with us, and she's actually going to be asking me the questions. She's going to be playing host here a little bit, and I'll be answering based on my experience using the mug press, as well as a little bit of the experience that I have through speaking with some other people in the industry as well. So Lala, thanks for being here on the stream today.
Yes, we've been getting a lot of questions about this heat press. And this is the only one that we are currently using, and we do recommend it. So with these questions, we hope that we can answer some of your questions and give you some good feedback so that you can make the right decision for your mug business.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get into that, if you guys, like I said, if you are interested or you are thinking about starting an online mug business, make sure you check out our ultimate DIYMugBiz starter kit. We'll link that up in the description of the video. It's a lot of free resources. It shows you where we get kind of all of our products and suppliers, pretty much everything you need to start a mug business. It's a free little giveaway that we created for you. And then we also have our ultimate mug biz program for beginners. If you are looking to get a little bit serious, we actually show you step by step how we actually create our mugs, how we really do everything, package everything, how we figure out our expenses and our sales and our profit, a whole lot of great things and more. You can check all that out in the description. Today, we're focusing on reviewing this machine. So Lala, why don't you go ahead and get us teed up here with the first question for our viewers today?
Yes, for sure. Okay, so we are going to start off with the most asked questions. So how much does this heat press sublimation cost?
So how much does the actual mug press cost?
Yeah, so how much does this mug press cost?
Okay, so yeah, we're coming, shots fired right out of the gate. I mean, I know that's a very widely asked question. So there's a few different ways to go into this, but just right out of the gate, just for the mug press itself, currently it's retailing based on what I just checked out this morning before the video. You're going to be pretty much all in at $430, which may seem a little bit high to some, and to others it may just be totally fine. I know there's more expensive brands like the Geonite brand, which some people often compare this to, saying, hey, the Geonite is more expensive, but I hear the quality is just so much better. But let's just talk about the price, guys. We will talk about the other components like quality in future questions that we have. So we will get to that for you. But $430, and then out the door, there is no charge for shipping with HeatPressNation. So I actually like that they roll that in there. But you are going to pay at least what it paid for me, what it teed up for me in the checkout page is about $35 in sales tax. So $430 plus the $35 gets you right around $465 to the $475 range. So if you want to be that specific, different states sales tax are going to be charged depending on what state you're in, I'm sure. So you can kind of plan on that range, just kind of as a quick and short answer to the question. But I do want to let you know that there are also other upgrades, which we can probably talk about later in the interview. That's going to cost you a little bit more money. There's kind of like the 2-in-1, the 4-in-1, and the 6-in-1, where you get the different heating elements with it. And we'll talk about that more in a future question. But obviously, those are going to cost a little bit more.
Okay, so with this mug press and that price, does it come with a mug element? Yes.
So the price that we're talking about right now, it's the machine and the one element that you can use for 11 and 15 ounce coffee mugs. That's what it comes with.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So moving on to the next question. Can you tell me about the quality of this heat press?
So the quality, there's a few different ways to talk about quality, but just generally overall, I will say that my experience has been that the machine is a very high quality. Like I said, there's a few different ways to gauge that. But some people are, again, comparing it to the Geonite, which is like, a tank. Well, this press is, it's made out of steel. So I think I may be borrowing from a future question here, but it's, what is the weight for this? It's about 37 pounds, I believe. I'm just checking my notes here. where did that go? Yeah, it's 37 pounds. So
Mhm.
if you're worried in
Yeah,
quality
it's pretty
wise
heavy.
of
Mhm.
this like kind of like falling apart, or if it like falls, it's just gonna like shatter into pieces. Probably not. The
Uh-huh.
thing's made out of steel. It is quite, quite sturdy, and it's not very large. We'll talk about the size components later too, but
Right.
it's like the thing's a tank. So quality wise, you're not gonna hurt it. You're not gonna break it.
Okay.
Now another thing, wiring. Wiring. Everything is digital on this heat press, just like I think all heat press mug presses are.
Mhm.
Um, I haven't had any issues. The press does come with the QC sticker on it, quality control sticker. I do know that HeatPressNation has great customer service. If you had to give a call saying, hey, you know what, I just bought this thing like 3 months ago, I'm having issues, I don't think they would have an issue with maybe doing you some sort of refund or maybe some troubleshooting things to begin with.
Okay.
There's not really a lot of buttons to press on it. There's not really any ways you can really mess it up. But from the wiring standpoint, everything's tucked away, nothing's revealed. I really haven't had any quality concerns of that. We could talk about how the performance of the press is, but that'll probably be a future question too. So just the quality of the make and the craftsmanship, I would say,
Mhm.
no issues, and I think it's quite strong.
Okay. I mean, that's good to know. I mean, for someone that's looking to buy this heat press, like they will want to know the quality of this product before purchasing it because it is, a good amount of money, to
Yeah, it's
start
an
off
investment.
with.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So let's move on to the next question. So, what can I burn with this heat press?
Okay, good question. So you're asking different product lines. So
Right.
if
Like
you're
it. Mhm.
yeah, if you're somebody who's looking to do a online business to sell different things, like maybe even like water bottles or
Right.
shot glasses.
So
Yep.
let's say if I want to, expand my product line instead of just doing mug, is there like other options that I can, buy, like,
Yeah.
to expand that?
Got it. Okay. So yeah, good question. And this is something that a lot of kind of new online sellers find themselves making a decision, like a strategic
Mhm.
business decision. Hey, should I just start out selling mugs, or should I,
Right.
offer different product lines? Or
Mhm.
hey, do I want to position myself in a way where I can like grow into different product lines? So guys, when I'm saying product lines, we're really talking about, and I just kind of touched on them. Obviously the 11-ounce and 15-ounce coffee mugs. There are latte mugs, which if you don't know what they are, they're a little bit more diagonal. Also tumblers.
Mhm.
So the things that they don't have a handle on them, and they're really convenient for holding coffee. But then also water bottles, and then to take things to the other end of the spectrum, we also have little shot glasses, and really I haven't even really seen them, but mini. They say you can do mini coffee mugs on them. So the answer is yes, you can do other things. What are the other things? All these things I just mentioned are capable of being burned and sublimated with the HPN Signature Series mug press. You can do all of these. The way that you do it, though, is you have to have different heating elements.
Okay. Yep. That was my next
Yep.
question. Okay.
So,
Perfect.
so the elements that you use are very interchangeable. It's as simple as kind of sliding it into the socket and putting it inside of the mug press, taking out the old one. Literally takes about 5 seconds to swap those out.
Mhm.
But it can be an additional purchase. I
Mhm.
think they run 30 to 40 bucks, and you're going to be limited to using a particular element depending on what it is that you're wanting to burn, what product line. So if you're going to burn a mug, you got to put the mug 11-ounce or 15-ounce element in. If you want
Right.
to switch to shot glasses, you're going to have to change that out. So it's just something that you have to be aware of and be mindful of to plan out your burns. If you've got orders that are lined up, you don't want to be switching every other order. You want to kind of plan it out. But
Mhm.
that is something that you can absolutely do, and it's what a lot of sellers do.
Okay, so bottom line here is that I
Mhm.
can expand my product line when I'm ready to. And all I would need is to buy the different element for each product line, correct?
Correct. You got it.
Awesome. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So I heard that there's like an odor when burning my mug. Is that true?
So my experience with this mug press is yes, there is an odor.
Okay.
I do have a bit of a sensitive nose. Honestly, most people say it smells like fish. That's the most common reference that I've heard. And I
Okay.
don't think it smells like fish myself, but it does have a unpleasant odor. I will say that. So you do want to make sure that, aside from that, you don't want to be, kind of like breathing in fumes.
Right.
I don't know if the fumes are from like the actual heating element and, it's new, so it's burning off. I've used my same heating element for 2 years now and it still has the odor. So I don't know if it's still burning off or if it's the transferring of the ink that's causing the odor. I'm sure we have some more experienced folks in the community that know specifically what causes the odor. I don't think it's anything within like the components of the machine. Otherwise, the machine would catch on fire probably.
Right. Okay.
So it's probably one of those two things, but there is an odor. I do recommend at very least using the machine in front of a window. Even better if you can put it out in the garage with the door open. Don't put it out there and keep the door shut. You're just going to kind of be breathing in. When I say fumes, I'm not talking about gasoline fumes. Again, I'm just talking about whatever this odor is. I don't know what it is.
Burning the mug or something.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. So don't think I'm thinking that this machine runs on fumes or gasoline. You just plug the machine into the wall. It's electric if you didn't know that. But, whatever is coming off of this, you want to be in a well-ventilated area.
Okay.
And, I used to, I used to cook it outside, even, living in Michigan at the time. Sometimes I'd go and put it on the deck, like on a TV tray, and just plug it in outside and, kind of just run in and out, open the door wall, however you want to do it, whatever you have accessible. I would recommend doing that. Okay. Not everybody experiences the smell or the odor. So you're going to have to see what's up for you. If you experience it or not. If you do, you want to, handle it.
Okay. So basically the odor may or may not go away because like you said, you've been using this machine for 2 years and it hasn't. So bottom line here is make sure it's in a ventilated area when using it, right?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, moving on to the next question. How large is the machine? Like, does it take up a lot of space? Is it like small? Is it big?
Yeah. So we touched on this. So let me just summarize it again. It's 37 pounds. Okay. It is quite tanky. You're going to use
heavy. Okay.
Yep. So you're going to use both hands to move it. You're not going to one hand this or balance it on your shoulder or anything. It's 14 inches by 18 inches. So it's about 18 inches long, 14 inches deep.
Okay.
So if you're trying to get a visual, you could just think of, like I said, a TV tray. If you place it on a TV tray, the feet, there's 4 feet on the bottom of the mug press. Those will safely fit on the top of a TV tray. It's actually the most convenient method that I've found to have a portable way of setting this machine by windows. It would fit perfectly on the TV tray, and there would be a little bit that hangs off pretty much all around it. So size-wise, it's just a little bit bigger than a TV tray, and it's 37 pounds. So it'll probably be heavy when it comes arrived in a box if you order one. But it's not like 50 pounds or anything like that.
No, that's good to know. And thanks for the idea of the TV tray.
Yep.
So I noticed that looking at the heat press, there's some knobs that are in the front and on the top of the heat press. Like what are those knobs for?
Sure. So simply put, those knobs adjust the heating element as well as the actual closing of the component of the machine that fits around the mug. So that's pretty much your burning station.
Okay.
And the knobs allow you to adjust this heating element and burning portion of the press. It's actually the press, not the burning station.
Okay.
It's a way to adjust the press. It's a way to adjust the press and the pressure in the press. Say that 10 times fast. So for example, if you're doing 11 ounce and a 15 ounce, you can probably get away with using the same heating element for both of those because they're similar, circumference and shape. But one's going to obviously need to be reduced smaller. The 11 ounce is going to need to be contracted to kind of snugly fit around whatever it is you're burning. So this is an important point, and I'm glad, Lala, that you asked the question. Basically, guys, when you're burning, you need to make sure that the press isn't too tight, but also, you don't want it to be too loose. So it's kind of like the Three Bears or whatever, like this bed's too small, or the porridge is too hot, the porridge is too cold, the porridge is just too, the porridge is just right. You need to make sure the fit is just right, because you're going to either in one extreme possibly be breaking some portion of the mug or the handle, or the other extreme, you're not going to have a proper burn. So these knobs, long story short, they are allowing you to get that just right fit. And you're going to have to experiment and play around with this, but the knobs are crucial. And there's also, I believe I don't know this off the top of my head, but in the actual specs of the machine, it says there's a 4-point pressure system. So I believe there's 2 points of pressure on each side of the press.
Right, because there's 2 knobs in the front, and there's 2 on top, so that's probably what that is, right?
Yep. So that's the 4-point pressure system, and so you can adjust just one at a time. You don't have to adjust both to allow you to achieve the optimal pressure and place points of the actual.
Yeah, so I mean that's a great tip, especially for the tightness and the snug for the mug, so that it could burn correctly the design image.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're putting the design on the mug, so it has to be proper weight distribution and pressure across it.
Okay, so that's a very important tip. Thank you for that, Derek. Okay, so let's move on. How long does the machine last?
So I am on my second mug press machine.
Okay.
And I've been doing it for 8 years. However, this is still my first HPN Signature Series machine. So the first mug press that I ever used was not the HPN Signature Series. It was kind of HeatPressNation's kind of beginner mug. I think it was $100 to $150 that I bought their beginner mug press. Okay. I don't believe they even sell that anymore. Okay. And the only reason I replaced it was because the actual heating element of it burned out. And at the time, I think I had used it for like a year and a half. And, I was doing it very part-time, just on the side while I was working, kind of like a hobby type thing. I didn't know enough about it. So once the heating element burned out, I was like, darn, my mug press is dead. I need to buy a new one. So I replaced the entire thing, not knowing, kind of looking back, hindsight, I could have just gotten a new heating element.
Right.
And what happened was I left a mug in there for too long, and it burned and it burned. And then it kind of created this permanent residue that would transfer over and create bad burns. And so that it was a busy Christmas time that year. And so that's what happened. So I ended up upgrading to the Signature Series at the time, like a year and a half later. I'm like, well, this one's got to last longer. And, I've already made money using this little dinky machine. And the quality was not good at all. So that's, I have a comparison for the quality. The Signature Series is just way better. Okay. So I decided to upgrade. And kind of the rest is history there. Okay,
so if a part breaks down, let's say the element like you were using in your old machine, if that breaks down, we can just get a new element? Is that what you're saying? Like if a part breaks down on this machine, I can just go ahead and order a new part from HeatPress?
No, not necessarily. No, I wouldn't say parts. I would say the element, yes, but anything else you're going to want to contact HeatPressNation directly. Okay.
Like so if the element, like if something's wrong with the element, it's, it's not working correctly, it's not burning my mug, then I can go ahead and get a new element, correct? Right?
Correct. Yeah. And I'm sure we can pull up a photo. If you guys don't know what the element is, it's kind of the red thing that, you'll see in the picture. We'll pull it up for you. That thing is interchangeable. Everything else though, like this thing's made of steel. It's going to be the electrical components that you're going to have issues with. And if something like that goes, you're going to need some additional support besides just parts. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, I believe your question was how long does it last? So
right.
I said, I've been on this using this machine as my second machine for at least 5 years now. I've had no issues.
Okay.
And I haven't heard anything about machines going down. Okay. I know that it also depends on the quantity, right? So it doesn't just matter how long you've owned it, but how much have you used it?
Sure.
So how many. So I have over 1,000 burns. There's actual counter. It's kind of cool. This machine has a counter. So every time you close the press, it goes ding. And, you can see another count go up in the counter for the mug press. So we have over 1,000 burns on this particular mug press.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
And so, that's really the best way to gauge it. So depending if you're running 30 orders per day or, if you're doing 30 orders per month, it's kind of going to depend on how much you use it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's actually a good idea to like keep track of your mug to know like how much you're doing per month or whatever, right? Like that little.
Yeah. And I'm sure sellers will automatically be doing that, but just as kind of like a gauge, like create a reference point for yourself of like,
that's
long.
pretty neat. Yep. That's pretty cool. Okay. So let's move along here. So how well does the machine transfer ink onto your mug? Like the colors, like does it burn? Like does it fully burn the design image onto my mug? That's my question here.
Yep. And this is something that I was kind of foreshadowing when we were talking about quality, because to me, this is a huge quality component. Like, well, it's nice that it's heavy and it's made of steel, and the components aren't going to come out, but how well does the machine actually perform, right? Quality.
Yeah, I mean, because that actually makes or break this heat press. Like, that's all that a lot of the people care about. Will it burn my designs? That's the $1 million question here.
Yeah, well, and I mean, I think it kind of shows that I'm still using it, and then I think it's the #1 selling heat press. Like, the quality is amazing. Okay, there's no issues whatsoever with the transfer of the design, the ink onto the mug itself, or the shot glass, or the water bottle, or whatever. I've had absolutely no issues, and I'm not aware of anything in the space in terms of this type of quality problem. Again, if this was a lingering problem, it just wouldn't be, the #1 selling press to my knowledge. So black and white looks amazing. Obviously you're not doing anything like with white ink, because that's going to be a totally different thing. Your printer is not going to be capable of printing white ink. But then going over to like photos that are full of color and, different, viewpoints and depths and things like that. My experience, as long as your printer is in check, keep those printer heads proper so that you're working with a solid design, print it out first. Because if you're not, you can't blame the machine. The machine is only going to work with, how well of the design.
The design comes out.
Yep. So what I would say is, the mug press machine pretty much exactly puts on whatever product you're using the design that you have. So if the design looks great, it's going to look great on the product.
So basically, if my design comes out a little blurry, it's going to burn the design blurry onto my mug.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Okay. Other things to consider, though, because I don't want you blaming the machine. If you're learning this and you're just like, oh, I spent this much on the machine, we'll probably talk about, time and temperature and placement and things like that. There are other ways, guys, to mess up your burn. Okay. So I would pretty much blame the machine itself last. Look at the settings you're using. Maybe it's not a snug fit like we already talked about in the actual element in the press. Maybe you're burning it for too long or not long enough. Or maybe you're not placing the design on there properly so that it's taped down all the way, so it's meeting at all those points on, so there's a lot of ways to make something blurry or not good. It's not necessarily going to be the press itself at fault.
Right. I mean, those are some great tips, especially for beginners.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for that, Derek. That's definitely something that you would need to know offhand, for somebody that's buying this heat press. Okay, so that actually leads up to my next question. Like, how long does this heat press heat up and cool down? Like, does it take a long time? Is it a short amount of time? Because when I'm burning my mug, like, I want to know, like, how long of a time gap, like, do I need to, prepare myself for?
Yeah. Okay. So really just as a placeholder, I give the machine 5 to 10 minutes to heat up and about 5 minutes to cool down. It's going to be within that range. Obviously, this is going to be all prefaced based on whatever time you're setting the machine to. So, the lower temperature you're setting, the quicker, right, it's going to heat up.
Sure.
So the other thing that you didn't ask, but I think is relevant to this is, and people might just not know this, so I'll share my experience with you. When you get it set up to temperature and you're ready to burn, and you slide your mug in the press and you close the handles down and the timer starts clicking down, right? When you do that, that actually affects the temperature of the element and the machine. So you'll see probably the first, 40, 50 seconds, the temperature actually went down. So whether you're cooking at, 350, 360, 370 degrees, when you slide the mug in there, it's going to actually, it's that temperature distribution. It's actually going to make the temperature go down.
Right.
And so you're going to need to accommodate that in the amount of time you're burning the mug for, because a lot of people, they'll just slide it in there and they have a amount of time that they read about that they should use or whatever. And then they pull it out and the mug is it's like a light brown because it didn't have enough time to actually burn, because you had to account for this dip in getting the temperature to come back up. And then the other thing is to consider, if you're burning multiple mugs, after you're done burning, you're going to want the machine to properly adjust to get ready for the next burn. If you're burning if you're burning multiple mugs at the same time, you got to properly adjust for that. So once you pull this mug out and it's done, at least give it, probably 10, 20 seconds to fully get ready. And,
for each mugs, like,
multiple mugs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So before the next mug goes on, you don't want to just cram it in there. That's another time and temperature thing to consider.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's great to know, especially for beginners, Okay, so that actually leads us to our final question here. So how easy is it to adjust my time and temperature?
The machine, it actually has a dual monitor, if you will. So you can see the time and temperature while you're currently burning. And like I said, watching that countdown, which is great. But then there's buttons within that allow you to adjust it. So it's pretty easy. I promise you, it's not as hard as resetting the time on a VHS. For those who remember, VHS tapes, it used to take an hour to figure out how to do that thing.
Right.
It's actually pretty simple. You just kind of hold a couple of buttons and you can change the degrees for the actual temperature, and then you can change the seconds for the time.
Okay. So the 4 small buttons in the front where the screen is, that's basically where you would go to adjust the time and the temperature, correct?
Yep. There's buttons for time and there's buttons for temperature.
Okay, so that was our last question. Thank you, Dirk, so much for answering all of the questions that, a lot of our viewers have been asking us about. So this actually really helps, especially first timers. If you're considering buying this mug press or not, of course there is cheaper ones, but like Derek said, this has been the best one that he's used so far. He's been using it for 5 years and still no issue with it. So anything else you want to add on before we let our viewers go?
No, I don't think so. I did have some other notes here, but I think we pretty much covered everything. Guys, I just, I guess my parting 2 cents that I do want to share is, a lot of people, they're making this early first decision. Do I buy the cheaper one and test it out?
Right.
Or do I, invest a little bit more and get the HPN Signature Series? If you're really on the fence and if you don't know you want to do this, you can, go out and get a cheaper one. But if you have even any, intuition that you're going to do this for at least a year, I would just recommend just getting this particular mug press, because I know that you're going to love it. I know that you're going to make your money back quickly on it. It's not like it's $3,000.
Right.
We're talking about, I know you have to make the investment in your printer, and ink is expensive and all these other things to consider. Again, we talk about in our ultimate DIYMugBiz starter kit, kind of where you can get all those resources. Again, the link for that is down in the description. But we kind of give you the direction on the best way and the most affordable way to go about that. But I really would, if someone just was like, Derek, should I or should I not? I would say yes. I would say do it. I would say get this machine. You're going to have a great overall experience, and it's going to be something that's going to be with you for, as long as you want it to be, for as long as you want to do this.
Right. Also, if you decided that you want to expand your line, like Dirk was saying, there's different elements that you can actually get to do that too. So you're not just stuck on mugs forever. Like you can expand your product line to shot glasses, to water bottles, to coffee cups or whatnot. So, I mean, the product line here is endless, and you can definitely make money with this heat press instead of investing in a new heat press for your different product line.
Yeah. And if you're watching this, I mean, there's lots of people that are going to print on demand. So if you've watched this and you made it this far, thanks for watching. Thanks for considering to do it yourself, the DIYMugBiz style, because guys, it's way more profitable. And, we're just kind of fleshing out the ways for you to show you how you actually can do this yourself, do this on your own. You don't have to be doing 1,000 mugs per month to make it worth, your while and to literally make money doing this thing.
Right.
Yep.
All right, guys, so we are going to end this here. Thank you for watching. If this video was helpful, please hit the like button, and we both will see you in the next video.